Listen up, I'm about to get dope. It ain't nothing but some shit.
What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio, transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho, where I am all fired up. I am the one-armed madman. And from the Badlands of southern Montana, we've got Nolan 5150. Nolan, what's up, dude? I'm all fired up. I had cables working for one thing. It worked all the time until I plugged it into the Rodecaster so we could listen to our videos tonight. And then it decided to take a shit on me. So I dig around. I find the exact same fucking cable that came in the 2-pack that I bought, plug it in, and it works. So I'm dripping with sweat. I'm all fired up. I got 2 Colombians living in my new room right now, so they might come out and cook dinner right now, and I don't know how the fuck I'm going to explain to them what this is. They're just going to think I'm crazy. So if we get any like extracurriculars going on, just fucking deal with it. It's a podcast. This isn't CNN.
We're winging it right now.
We're fucking winging it. We are fast and loose. I wonder if I can find the fucking... I need to get my thing set up.
Yeah, we got a...
where is it?
We got a wicked cake. Oh.
It's fast and loose, and accidents happen.
Oh shit, man!
Accidents might happen.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, like dropping your bag of blow in the White House. Can't get worse than that.
Shit happens. I mean, you're gonna go party in the White House.
It's the White House. I'm gonna party.
Oh man! And you want to talk about partying with cocaine and almost getting caught? Do you know the story that I'm thinking of right now?
I think so.
All right, so when we were living in Southern California, we were probably like, 19, 20 years old. We decided to head down to Tijuana for the night. We buy a bag of blow on our way there, and we're in my Dodge pickup. It's 2004. It's got like a bed liner in it. So we got this DVD case, and we fucking jam the coke underneath the bed liner, and we're driving through the border. On the way down there, they don't give a fuck what you bring in. You know, they're catching you on the way back. So we go down, party for the night, and we used to burn up. You remember we used to burn up Mac Dre out like CDs, and we'd bring it to the DJs and be like, what the fuck is this? And everybody'd start partying. It was the shit. Anyways, on our way back, we're going through the border check. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I think we had bought a second bag from a Mexican down there. And believe it or not, the Mexican blow that we bought was better than the fucking California blow that we got down.
Closer
and it's
to
probably
the source.
because it's closer to the source, exactly. And we got it right from a guy on the street, too. It wasn't like we were getting anything fucking special. So we're driving back through, and I am just destroyed. I've been drinking all night. We've been doing a bunch of fucking coke. And they wave us through. They're kind of like, yeah, just go. You know, they didn't want to deal with us. And for some reason, like, you had to make a turn or something like that to go out. And I just drove straight, and we drove right into the check your fucking vehicle area. And we're sitting in there, and we're like, holy shit, we are going to get fucked right now. And like, while we're sitting in there waiting for the Border Patrol to come over, there's a bunch of fucking cops or, Border Patrol playing with the drug dog behind the truck. And do you remember what our buddy Matt said? It was one of the funniest things I've ever heard anybody say.
Dude,
He's like, hey, guys. Huh?
Were
you not there for this?
I was not on that trip. Nope.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, anyways, you know our buddy Matt. Blonde Matt, not Faldmo Matt. He looks over, and I know John was there, and he goes, hey, you think I should give him my Eagle Scout card?
Yes. Fuck yes.
Dude, it was one of the funniest things I'd ever heard anybody say. It was like, no, dude, you want to give it away? Like, are you fucking crazy?
Oh shit, dude. I remember he would pull that all the time. He always told us how that would get him out of anything.
Yeah. Dude, I don't think that's going to get you out of a fucking coke jam at the border at 4 a.m.
Dude,
Tijuana.
it didn't even get him out of his license being expired for like a day. I was with
Nobody
him.
gives a fuck about the Eagle Scouts. They're like, the cop takes it and it's like, oh, so you were abused as a child? Am I supposed to feel bad for you?
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry that your counselor diddled you, but that is, your registration is out.
Like you're so brave.
Yeah, so brave, so brave. God, that was the first thing I thought of when I heard the Coke story. I was like, holy shit. Should I give him my, Hunter Biden, maybe he's got an Eagle Scout card. Hey guys, I was an Eagle Scout.
I thought you were gonna, cause like I said, I wasn't on that adventure, but I thought you were gonna bring up the one which I know, I'm goddamn certain you were there, cause I'm pretty sure we were in your truck again, and we were just fucking being idiots, posted up. Freaking, for some reason, we had to have like the 2.5 foot glass bong, and
in the truck.
Yeah, and then the cop like pulled up on us, and we took off, and then spilt the fucking bong water all over.
I was thinking of a different episode. We were sitting in the truck one time. I don't remember if you were there for this one, and we've got the gas mask, and we're like doing fucking bong rips out of the gas mask. And I get a call on the phone, and I thought it was somebody else. Like I was supposed to do something with a motorcycle, or just some random call was supposed to come in. So I answer the call, and they're like, "Yeah, Mr. Meyer, my name's fucking Detective whatever from the Temecula Police Department." I'm like, "Holy shit!" And I like look over to everybody. I'm like, "Get the fuck quiet, the fuck down." And then this guy, like, tells me, he's like, yeah, so there was these people, they went to your restaurant the other night, and apparently they left their credit card, and then somebody used it to fill up their gas tank in the gas station right after, and of course it was me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like having to fucking tell this guy his story. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, shit ever happens. I end up calling my lawyer from Northern California, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucked. If they get me on this, I'm fucked. I'm losing my job. I got to move out of here. Like, I'm completely fucked. Racing is over if I get hit with this. And he called somebody that he knew in the area, like a PI type of dude. And dude drove down to the gas station and got the tape.
Huh.
He said he was doing some investigation or something like that. And he went out and they were like, oh, we only got one copy. He's like, I'll bring it right back.
Jeez.
But I got out of that one. We had a lot of sketchy situations. There was another time when we were down at San Diego Supercross. Remember, we got fucked up, and I got in a fight with that cop because we were spitting in like glass bottles. We were spitting our dip in glass bottles, and this cop was he wanted to fucking throw me in jail. Like they were getting ready to throw me down in the cell.
He didn't like
and
you.
I just. No, he didn't. And I didn't take shit from this guy at all. Like, I don't know if you remember this, but I was screaming at this guy. What the fuck is your problem? I found this on the ground, and I was taking it to the garbage can for you, and like all this shit. The situation started with both of us going, fuck, man, we're getting thrown out of here. Bottom, like minimum, getting thrown out of here. Maximum, we're going to spend the rest of the race down in their cells. And we ended up getting free food out of it.
Yeah, bizarre. And the bullshit thing
was they were so embarrassed about it, and the manager was so embarrassed, and that the cop didn't do his job right, which he obviously was, that they gave us free food.
Well, I remember the fucked up thing was me and you were standing there talking to the person who is a big part of the entire event. We were standing there talking to Christy.
Talking to promoters. We were talking to Christy. That's right.
We were literally standing there talking to her, minding our own business, and that dude just walks right up, interrupts our conversation, and comes right at you for no goddamn reason.
No. And I was drunk, but no drunker than anybody else.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like
we weren't belligerent by any means.
I was totally manageable, having a good time at Supercross drunk. Like a couple beers in. I think we had some blow. So I couldn't have been that drunk.
Didn't we like tailgate?
Yeah, dude, it was wild. That was one of the best Supercrosses we ever did. Like, I think we had some blow. On the way home from that race, I was fucked up driving, and for some reason that I still can't figure out, you decided to call my mother. You remember this?
No memory of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you decided to call and have like a heart-to-heart with my mother while I'm fucking destroyed trying to drive. We're stopping to do lines and shit. I don't know this is happening. I find out about it the next day. I wake up and I've got like 40 missed calls. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? She's like, I thought you were dead. You were driving home last night. Nolan's spilling his guts about something. I don't know what the fuck his problem is. And you guys are stopping to do lines because you're too drunk to drive.
Dude, I don't know. Well, clearly I don't remember that, but shit.
Yeah, dude. Wild times.
Sometimes you just gotta, you just gotta let it out.
God, I've got another Supercross story that I could let loose, but I kind of want to. You know what? Fuck it. Let's let it loose. So, Anaheim won. I don't remember what year this is. This must have been like 06. So, Carmichael in his fucking prime. Anaheim won. We're out in my Chevy pickup. This is before I bought the Dodge. And we're out in that construction site behind our apartment. You remember this? We were out wheeling. We're out wheeling in the middle of the night. We're all fucked up. And we get stuck. And like somehow I clipped a cable on a rock or something underneath my pickup. And four-wheel drive was out. Oh. So we have to walk back to the house. Yeah. And our whole deal is like, we got to get to Supercross. This is our only way. We've got to be at Supercross tonight. So we were going to get our neighbor who had that nice Jeep with a winch on it to yank us out, but he wasn't home. So we end up having to call that fucking tow truck. We call this tow truck driver. And this tow truck driver wheels all the way out there. He sets up like 40 yards away from the pickup, and we have to pull this thing out. And bottom line, we got to fucking Supercross.
Yeah.
Some good times. There was some good times. Well, anyways, let's get into it tonight. So the other night, I'm sitting out in the hot tub. I've had my hot tub for probably like 3 months now. And I go out every night. I go out as late as I can because we don't have great sky here. There's a lot of light. So I want to be able to see shit, And so the other night, I'm going out, and I wasn't like really, sometimes I'm like in the mood to look for something, like I want to see something tonight, and I'll like look at satellites and I'll tell it to move, like move, do something. I just like, yeah, do something. And I wasn't in that mindset at all. I had music playing. I go out, I'm listening to fucking Warren Zevon. I know this because I've tried the same thing multiple times now. And I'm just barely got in. I look up, I'm looking right up into the center of the sky, and I see this flash, and I go, whoa. And I've never seen anything in the sky that's made me have like an audio like outburst like that. I've seen stuff and go, oh, yeah, it's a satellite, whatever. So this thing flash, and it's not like a starlight color. Starlight's pretty white and just that reflective white. This had like a plasma type burst to it. I'm like, holy shit, maybe I just saw something explode in upper atmosphere or something like that. And then bang, it happens again a few inches over. And then a few seconds later, bang, it happens again. And it was in a line. It wasn't like this thing was all over the place or anything like that. It was just in a line. But the weird thing is typically when I see like satellites or planes or something like that, especially satellites, they disappear when they get to a certain part of the horizon because there's too much light and you can't see them anymore. This was right in the top of the sky. And if it was going to keep moving, I'd have seen it for a little ways longer. So I'm not prepared to call this thing a fucking spaceship or anything like that, but absolutely a UFO. I don't think it was a satellite. I don't know what it was, but I don't think it was a satellite.
But I wish I would have sent you this article. It was something about, I guess, Starlink satellites are leaking radiation. I didn't get too into it, but that just made me think of that. I 100% saw a legitimate Tic Tac UFO, and this was probably maybe like 2009, somewhere around there. I was here in Montana and re-shingling the roof and had come down for lunch and then got back up on the shop roof, and naturally doing fucking roofing, my back was tight, so I ate, got back up there, and I was just laying down on the hot roof, relaxing my back a little bit. clear sky, you know, a few scattered little white clouds, nothing crazy. And I'm just laying there looking up in the sky, and sure as shit, just freaking see the whoop, beep, beep, and then just it's gone. And the whole time I was just like, that just happened. Like, now do I tell anybody about that? And then all the you know, recent shit about the like they actually, somebody labeling it like the Tic Tac UFO and shit like that. I was like, oh yeah, I saw one of those.
Yeah, man, that's fucking cool. I've always wanted to see something like that, something where I can definitively go like, whoa, that was weird. Or beyond weird, like something I can't really explain. This could be, you know, what I saw could be explained by any number of things. It could be a second stage on a rocket, third, you know, who knows? It could have just been some fucking space plane or who knows what they're doing up there.
Yeah,
who knows what they're up to?
A satellite maybe falling out of orbit, trying to put itself, correct its course, some bullshit like that, you know?
Maybe they're using an energy weapon to try and start fires in Canada.
Maybe it's Space Daddy lighting his farts.
Well, anyways, we do have some news. We've got some breaking news on the UFO front with the David Grusch story and how it's playing out. But I think first we should go and do a little bit of a history lesson. Are you familiar with a guy named Paul Bennewitz and Richard Doty?
I am not.
All right. Well, we're going to learn a little bit about these two guys here tonight. I struggled with which order I was going to play this shit in. So let's hope this turns out right. Let's learn a little bit here.
He was a businessman who owned a humidity instrument manufacturing company called Thunder Scientific, which had contracts with NASA and the Air Force. He lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, across from the Kirkland Air Force Base. In 1979, he began to see kaleidoscopic lights moving in irregular patterns above it. He started to film and take pictures of the lights, amassing 2,600 feet of 8mm film and thousands of photographs. Using electronic surveillance equipment, he recorded electrical magnetism being emitted from above the base. Additionally, he recorded signals using homemade radio receivers with an array of antennas pointed towards Kirtland Air Force Base. Bennewitz surmised that he was documenting alien crafts. He was a card-carrying member of the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization and had a keen interest in the widespread reports of mysterious cattle mutilations, which were plaguing New Mexico at the time.
All right, so seems like a pretty typical UFO guy. You know, prior military experience, knows a thing or two about military equipment, classified materials, things like that. He starts seeing some weird shit and he starts to document it. I mean, this could easily be like a Randall Carlson is kind of what I thought when I hadn't heard this story in a while. So when I was going through it today, I was trying to remember what happened, but that was kind of what struck me on this. This is just the guy who knows a thing or two about a thing or two, starts seeing some weird stuff that doesn't add up in the sky, and he starts doing research on it. And this is a fun little clip right here, and then we'll get into it a little bit more.
Were abducting people and taking them to their deep underground military bases to implant them with mind control devices. He considered Archuleta Mesa, near the New Mexican town of Dulce, to be the location of their subterranean base.
All right, so I thought that was interesting because deep underground military bases, that just screams QAnon. So yeah. I think most people would have to agree at this point that QAnon was a psyop. This was not a real thing. It was a psyop to get everybody fired up. And so this is the 80s. You've got a guy who's into, and there was this other guy, I don't remember his name right now, but he was a military contractor, and supposedly he had gotten contract to build some tunnels down under one of these bases. And he came in contact with some aliens down there, and they got into a firefight, and he got all torn up by a laser or something like that. So these were big conspiracy. You remember that? I see your face. Yeah. So this is what was going on when we were kids, essentially. This is, you know, by the time we're 10, 12 years old, when I'm watching the Discovery Channel on aliens and shit like that, this is what they were really getting into, these deep underground military bases. So it shouldn't be a surprise that QAnon was able to kind of leverage that aspect of a conspiracy. If people are already into this, oh, we got aliens down there, or we got well, let's just leverage it for something else and stretch it. We know it works. We've done it before. Let's just repurpose it for a different use.
Yeah, that makes me kind of curious of what Elon's got planned for his little tunneling company.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah.
And, I heard somebody talk, I should have clipped it, but somebody was talking the other day about how that he was going to make that train, his 0G train or whatever the fuck it's called, but it had to be underground. I go, why does it have to be underground? Wouldn't it just be easier to build it up above ground? So it's like you said, why a big deal about the tunnels? You could easily build this thing above ground.
Yeah.
It'd be easier, way easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. Why is what's the big deal with the tunnels? I don't know.
Hollow Earth, baby.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was I wouldn't be surprised if there was some freeway system going on under our country that these people are allowed to use and we are not.
Oh, that's where the dinosaurs went, man.
Down underground. All right, let's continue.
You got to understand that Paul Bennewitz was already a believer in UFOs.
Oh, sorry. Let me preface this. Now we get Richard Doty coming in. So this is Richard Doty talking about Paul Bennewitz. Let me start it over.
You got to understand that Paul Bennewitz was already a believer in UFOs. He was already an investigator from UFO. So when I went to him and I said simply, Paul, don't you think that what you photographed was UFOs, extraterrestrial? He said, I know they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it took.
Doty claims that multiple intelligence agencies were surveilling Bennewitz's every move, that Bennewitz was given a secret $75,000 grant to continue to investigate aliens, that the NSA had set up a spy station in a vacant house right across the street from Bennewitz's home. Doty claims that the NSA was beaming low-frequency transmissions that when decoded with a computer, which they supplied to him, would send messages which appeared to be aliens directly communicating with Bennewitz. Furthermore, Doty claims that the government devised methods to ensure that Bennewitz focused on Archuleta Mesa and not on Kirtland Air Force Base.
On the domes.
Since Bennewitz believed that Archuleta Mesa in Dulce, New Mexico, was the location of the underground alien base, Doty claims that they staged the area to look like one. He says that they placed storage tanks, equipment shacks, and fake air vents to drive the point home. According to Richard Doty, they set up searchlights equipped with rotating lenses to simulate the appearance of UFOs in the sky. In 1981, Doty claims that he took Bennewitz on a helicopter ride to survey Archuleta Mesa and pointed out the phony structures the government had planted. Then he says that he encouraged Bennewitz to consult the aliens which he had been communicating with to find out more. Afterwards, Doty says that Bennewitz started to fixate on Dulce rather than Kirtland Air Force Base. Bennewitz, who was also a pilot, would fly his own helicopter over Archuleta Mesa on countless scouting missions throughout the next several years.
Dude, there is so much going on in that clip.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. Our tax dollars at work, my man. I mean, isn't that unbelievable? NSA, different agent, the military and the NSA also on the same op. This is one guy. All of this to
they're
fool
just
one guy.
They're fucking with. And then I'm
Dude.
like, I don't know what to be mad about. Am I mad about that they're giving away computers and then beaming like propaganda to this guy, or are all those structures that just built to fool him, or are they real but they're just conning this guy into thinking they're fake just so he'll run around and look like a nut?
Yeah.
Like,
that's kind of what they're doing. They want this guy to go out into the UFO world, all these conferences, and go, look what I found. Look at what's going on here. And it's all fake.
It's an MK Ultra, man. It's an MK Ultra.
This is in the 80s, too, dude. They were using lights to mimic UFOs in the 80s. Imagine what they can do today.
Right? Yeah,
I mean,
seriously.
my goodness. Yeah. Who knows what they could make up in the sky today? And if they were willing to put all this money, all these resources, all of this into fooling one guy, what do you think they're willing to do to fool the rest of us?
Right.
I mean, maybe have a big disinformation psyop featuring people who have worked for the government for many years. When you start hearing shit like this, that doesn't sound crazy at all. You go, oh yeah, I mean, this is probably what's happening. I just, it's amazing that we allow the government to do this to us. They're stealing our money in order to pull psychological operations on their own people. This was one of their own. This wasn't some asshole like us on the internet who's screaming about how much we hate the government and how they're murderous psychopaths. This is one of their own.
Sacrifices must be made, man.
Right?
He was
goodness.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how with the advancement in technology and stuff like that, social media, the internet and whatnot, it's kind of funny to see the change from that in the 80s of so much effort just to con one guy in the hopes of that spreading to the rest of his little group, to now all they have to do is put one guy in front of the camera and it spreads to millions.
Like wildfire.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet is our biggest weapon and our greatest enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we have the ability to see these things. They don't want us to be able to look up these videos. They hate that this shit exists, that they weren't able to cover this shit up. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that we can do our research on this and look at, like, hey, they have performed psychological operations in the past. We know they've done it. And I mean, and then you also have got to ask, so let's keep going. I think, I must have missed one. Let's see. Maybe it'll tell us in this one.
Bennewitz's delusions and paranoia nearly destroyed him. When he first started investigating the strange lights in the sky, he was a successful businessman and physicist with a loving family. By the end of his journey in the late 1980s, he was an emaciated, unstable insomniac who had trouble expressing a coherent thought. He kept an arsenal of weapons around his home and installed extra locks as he believed that aliens were coming through his walls at night and injecting him with chemicals. He also suspected that his wife Cindy had been implanted with an alien tracking device.
Turned him against
in
his
August
wife.
1988, his sons took over his business after he barricaded himself in his home. He was later admitted to a mental health facility after his family checked him in for nervous exhaustion. He stayed there for a little over a month. Luckily, Bennewitz eventually recovered his sanity. He remained interested in UFOs, but his relentless search for alien life slowed down considerably. Richard Doty claims that he visited Bennewitz near the end of his life and confessed that much of the things he told him was disinformation and that he was ordered to lie to him. According to Doty, Bennewitz refused to believe him.
He did such a fucking number on this guy that after Doty got out of the military and out of the job, well, I mean, does a disinformation guy ever really get out? It's kind of like that Mike Baker, CIA guy that goes on Joe Rogan and says, oh yeah, I'm out. It's like, are you really? You run a security company and he lives here in Boise and he runs like a security. It's like, are you really out? Come on, man. So it's hard to know how much of this you can believe. There was another video that I had where they were saying that, dude, there was so many people in on this. Here it is.
16-month investigation, Bennewitz shared his findings with the Air Force and warned them of an alien threat. Documents gathered via Freedom of Information requests show that Bennewitz was visited by 2 Air Force officials. The important one to this story is AFOSI Special Agent Richard Doty. Doty and his colleague inspected Bennewitz's recordings, footage, and photographs, and reported that they could not determine for sure what Bennewitz had filmed, but that they believed that it did not pose a threat to the base. As for the electromagnetic pulses, they wrote that they informed the Foreign Technology Department, which intended to inspect Bennewitz's materials. In the end, it was concluded that the Air Force would not conduct any further investigations. Despite this, a meeting took place on November 10, 1980, between Bennewitz, several officers, and scientists from the Air Force Base. The Air Force documentation of the meeting reads, Dr. Bennewitz presented film and photographs of alleged unidentified aerial objects photographed over Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, during the last 15 months. Dr. Bennewitz also related that he had documented proof that he was in contact with the aliens flying the objects. On 17 November 1980, Special Agent Richard Doty advised Dr. Bennewitz that the AFOSI would not be involved with the investigation of these objects. The report also mentions that 2 senators contacted the Air Force to ask them if they were investigating Bennewitz's findings. It states that Special Agent Richard Doty informed them that they would not. Now what you just heard is the official story. one that Special Agent Richard Doty says is not true.
All right, so I played those out of order. That's my fault. But this guy was just trying to do the right thing. Hey, I was in the Air Force. I know about this shit. I'm seeing these things over your base. You don't see them. I'm here to help you. And they go, oh, great. We really appreciate it. Now, let's destroy this guy's life. Make him think he's crazy. We'll have... I mean, what do you think they were doing to him to where he thought aliens were coming out of the walls? I mean, are they putting are they putting noise-making devices inside of his wall, or you know, do they got who knows?
Microwaving his brain.
They really did a number on this guy.
Yeah. I'd really like to get my hands on some of that good CIA LSD. If anybody's got some laying around, that'd be tight.
Yeah, it's probably good shit. Dude, I bet you they've got stuff that's so far beyond LSD we can't even comprehend. Right. They're like, oh yeah, LSD was fun in the 70s, but we give them one drop of this shit, and they think that they're on a different fucking planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
maybe they do go to a different planet, man.
Dude, we've got LSD so fucking good that it'll make you a wormhole, man. Anyways, so we're gonna go back to my favorite alien show, Fade to Black, and let's listen to a little bit of Richard Doty. He's gonna give us a little bit of inside information, possibly, or maybe a little bit more disinformation. You'll have to judge that for yourself.
That ended up happening when he called in the show that night. You had said, and man, this spread like wildfire. You had said that there were 2 top presenters on the conference circuit that were agents or informants or employees or hey, you use your own definition, right? And oh man, my phone. Who do you think it is? Who is Rick talking about? Do you still feel that way today?
Oh yeah, I know for a fact. Both of them are alive and well within the UFO community, and you talking about people who are.
Yeah, don't name names on this.
I'm not going to name anybody. I won't name them, but they're harmful. They spread the most lies and harm within the UFO community. These 2 people, there probably are more, but I know of these 2 people that do this. They create havoc within the UFO community, and they do it quietly, and they do it professionally because they were former intelligence officers. They ran excellent operations. And they're using those techniques today against the UFO community.
All right, so we've got NSA, CIA, whatever, moles in the UFO community spouting fucking disinfo right now. So, and what really grinds my gears? You go, don't name names on this show. It's like, dude, if you really cared about this shit and really... Like if that was my main focus, if I had done thousands of episodes on trying to get to the truth on UFOs, I would say I want those fucking names right now.
Yep.
Because we got to get this shit out of our community. If we're going to be taken seriously, if we're really going to get to the truth, we need to nail these fuckers to a cross. Like they got to go. And we need to nail them right now here in public so everybody can see that these people are the bad guys. But then you got to think, well, this guy was a disinfo agent. Is that disinfo to stir up maybe some condemnation in the UFO world? Oh, there's 2 guys in there. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I promise you they're in there. So now we start looking. Is it Jack over there? I think it's Jack. That motherfucker. He's been saying shit for 2 years about this thing, and I think it's Jack.
Like, fuck, Susan's tits are just sagging so low. She's gotta be full of shit.
Can't they get some of that anti-grav technology, like an anti-grav push-up bra? But, I don't know. I don't know how to. I wouldn't be surprised if there a lot. The first person that came to my mind when he said that was Stephen Greer and Bob Lazar. It could easily be those guys. Stephen Greer's always rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's that he was an ER surgeon for a long time, and now he's a fucking UFO guy and telling everybody about anti-gravity technology and this and that. And it's like, I don't know. I've always found him to be kind of bombacious and full of shit, but I don't know. Anyways, let's hear what Richard Doty's got to say about David Grusch.
Did you know David Grusch before? Had you heard his name in circles? There are some that are saying yes to this. Of course, the UAP task force, but in reference to anything else, were you surprised about him coming forward?
No, I knew he was coming forward.
Oh,
first of all,
Did he say coming out?
there are independent groups, private
Coming
groups.
forward.
Lou Elizondo had one group, and I was in another group, and we called ourselves the Advanced Working Group. We've been trying to push disclosure for a long time, and we brought forth a number of people, whistleblowers, and presented them to Congress, primarily the Senate. We're working on the Senate, Senator Rubio's side. There's other groups working on the House side, but we're on the Senate side. And we brought people to them to be interviewed, to be screened, to be vetted. And they were. And David was, he's the real thing. There's nothing hidden about David. You can prove who he is. You can prove his credentials.
And why isn't there any information?
Of course, people are saying he's reporting what others told him, but others told him this in a classified setting. So
it's okay.
David's relating.
Now we know it's true.
Factual information. So I knew.
Factual. We know it's factual because it was in a classified setting. So obviously, I knew about that. We interviewed people and for credibility and blah, blah, blah. Do you think that Grusch is maybe just the Bennewitz of today?
Yeah.
Hey, we found a fucking theater nerd who's into UFOs. We can look through his phone and we've been able to see every movie he's watched in his entire life. And he's all into aliens and UFOs. Let's groom him. Let's put him on one of these, what do they call it? The special working group or whatever it is like that. I mean, it's wild that this guy's entire job was to psychologically traumatize somebody to the point where he had to be hospitalized and wouldn't believe the truth because is it the truth or not when he was confronted with it. But now we're supposed to believe him that he's always been, we've been working for disclosure the whole time. Even when I was, faking landing sites and using strobe lights to mimic UFOs and building fake buildings across different military sites to fool one guy. But nope, we just want disclosure. That's what we want. We want you guys to know the truth. We want you to all have the truth. I don't believe you, man.
Yeah.
I just don't.
You as fucked up as this is, like you gotta hope that they were working on more than just one guy. He was just, the guy that panned out to completion. You know what I mean? Like I'm just grasping at straws here, hoping that all that tax money didn't get wasted on one guy. Hopefully they fried a couple people's lives. It's like if we're gonna ruin some lives, let's ruin some fucking lives.
Yeah, this is just the one story that's like telegenic that they can have fun with. Yeah. For every one of these guys who's like an interesting story, there's 100 other ones that are just like, oh yeah, we told him that he had fucking bugs crawling under his skin, so he tore all of his skin off one night and burned his hair.
Yep.
Like, who knows what they're doing to these people?
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, let's continue. Let's see where Rick Doty thinks the UFOs are.
Without jeopardizing national security, that the best way to hide extraterrestrial material, including crafts, is with contractors. And so there are a number of contractors involved in analyzing and reverse engineering ET, not just their flying crafts, but their technology. And so that's where some of the stuff is.
Right.
I knew about this because it's been going on since the 80s when I worked out at Area 51 or Groom Lake. I mean, there were so many different contractors out there, Lockheed and Boeing and Grumman and just a number of them that were working on just this reverse engineering. Now, I never had access to that information, so I didn't work where Lazar worked.
He was there. He worked there. He knew it, but he didn't have access.
But I never went down there, so I don't know it all about that information. I can't say that this particular craft was reverse engineered, or I just was never cleared for that. But I was cleared for the counterintelligence part of it, or protecting it from the public, and so I knew a little bit about it, but I wasn't fully briefed into it. So, to answer your question, to hide a craft, you would put it in preparatory custody of a private contractor.
Dude, I don't know how you can parse out what he just said. I was there. I know it because I was there, but also I wasn't allowed down there and I didn't have access to that, so I don't really know. But also I know because I was there and all these military. It's like, wait a minute, were you there or were you not there?
Yeah, did you
and
see
now
it?
We've
did
got,
you witness it? Did you work
were you
on
there
it
or not?
Or was this just Mike at the fucking water cooler being like, "Oh man, you should see the shit I'm doing today." Well, got to go back.
Were
to
you
work.
out there? Yeah, were you out there once a year to do a walk around, or like were you there or not? Did you fucking see this stuff or not?
Yeah,
it's just so wild how they're
repetitive.
They talk around in circles, and this guy's much slicker than David Grusch is.
Yeah,
like he sounds far more believable and sincere, and he seems like he knows the subject very well. Whether it's because he cares about it or not is hard to say, because you can't trust anything that somebody like this says. And I was going to clip it, but I couldn't really find this guy. I thought that he had kind of like, oh, what I did was wrong and I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm on the side of disclosure, but he didn't say that. He keeps going back to, it was my job. I just followed orders. You know who else did that? The fucking Nazis. And they still fried for it. So I don't buy this. Oh, I destroyed somebody's life, but I was just doing my job. But now I care so much that I need to be a part of disclosure for everyone. It's like, do you care about people or not? Because if you care about people, if you have a conscience, if you have morals, you wouldn't have done what you did.
Yeah.
But now, and if he would go on a fucking, go Joe Rogan and be like, I did this. It was the worst thing I have ever done in my life. I lose sleep over it every night, and I just wish I could take it back. So I'm trying to do everything that I can to bring disclosure to the people. I might go, okay, that's a little believable. But to just sit back and go, I just followed orders, I was just doing what I was told, is such a cop-out.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking cop-out. It's like, are you a moral person or not? Like, give me a reason to believe what you're saying. Yeah. Why should I believe you? And I don't see any reason to trust this fucking guy.
You should believe him because he worked on that site. He didn't see anything, but other people told him.
He wasn't cleared for it, but he was around there.
That's what keeps
saw
repeating. It's always
he saw
somebody
something
else
stuck to a chalkboard.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody drew a picture of this big-headed, big-eyed green guy.
One time
probing.
One
some
time
human figure.
Yeah, one time they were pulling a UFO out of the mountainside on a trailer, and the trailer got a flat tire and it rolled off the side. So I went over and I helped them lift it onto the trailer again. Mm-hmm. And it was as big as a house, but it's a UFO, and I was just able to, give us something. It's just this weird fucking runaround. They love to play with language.
Yeah. And like I said, it's so annoying. it's always information that somebody else told, which is, like you said, such a fucking cop out, man. That alleviates all
blame.
All blame.
You can
all
shift
responsibility.
all blame.
You can say anything and be like, oh yeah, but somebody else told me that. I didn't witness anything, just somebody told me. I'm like, okay, well, who was that? Because I'm tired of talking to you. Let's get them.
I've got a great quote about this. This is from The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. A rational anarchist believes that concepts such as state and society and government have no existence save physically exemplified in acts of self-responsible individuals, which he is not. He believes that it is impossible to shift blame, share blame, distribute blame, as blame, guilt, responsibility are matters taking place inside human beings singly and nowhere else. But being rational, he knows that not all individuals hold his evaluation, so he tries to live perfectly in an imperfect world. That's how you live. You can't shift blame. You can't say, oh, the government just told me to do this, or, oh, the government was doing things out there. And another thing, this is what I was going to get at. Then they start getting into, oh, it's, Northrop and Grumman and Lockheed, and they start throwing. I think that you remember when I was pointing out how David Grusch, all of a sudden he turns into a Ron Paul anti-war activist for 5 seconds with no emotion whatsoever, talking about the military-industrial complex. I think that they're going to try to shift blame to the military-industrial complex. Like, oh, we had these things and we were studying them responsibly, but then we gave it to Lockheed and they took it to Skunk Works and now we haven't seen it in 40 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? All right, let's continue. Now I'm going to fucking... Okay, here we go. Let's find out what really happened at Roswell. We're getting into it.
There were 2 extraterrestrial crafts flying around New Mexico in late June, early July of 1947. These 2 crafts were, I guess, just investigating or exploring our planet, and just, I don't know how they got to New Mexico. But anyways, during that time period, there was a very vicious electrical storm, lightning. Vicious lightning in New Mexico. And if anybody's ever lived here in New Mexico, where I live, you can understand that we have some really bad lightning. I mean, horrible lightning storms. And the government, at least this is what we were told, the government figures that these 2 crafts flying were struck or encountered lightning and upset their navigation system. One crashed, and the other one flew some distance west and eventually crashed in Horse Mesa, but they didn't find that for a couple years later. One of both of these crafts had an extension on the back of it, which we believed was their antenna or some other avionics. That broke off, landed in the debris field, where Mark Brazel found it. The craft itself crashed near Corona, near a ranch near Corona. And during that time period, there was an archaeological team from Albuquerque, New Mexico, from the university out there. And they're the ones that actually found that craft and found that live ET. They notified the sheriff of the county, Lincoln County, and eventually the Mexico State police officer arrived, and a recovery team from both Roswell Air Base and Kirtland Field came out and recovered the craft. And that's the actual story that was in the official U.S. government document and the film. So any other stories isn't what the government is saying. And I'm confident that when the disclosure comes out and they start with this is exactly what they're going to tell the public.
I've got so many issues with this. So many issues. You want to go? You want to start?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So first off, he really has to go at lightning. Oh, if you've ever been to Arizona or to New Mexico, we have horrible, just awful, horrible. It's just the worst thing ever. Like God opens the skies and the lightning is just incredible. Like, yeah, dude, we know what lightning is. Do you really have to do that? And then you get into the craft itself. Airplanes get struck by lightning all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. And they don't go down. If these things are like what David Grusch says and coming from different dimensions, because, that's proven in theory, but it's facts in a theory. Are they really going to be affected by lightning?
They should.
I mean, it just seems so fucking stupid to me.
They should attract lightning and want lightning.
It just seems so dumb. Like, how is your avionics system in a UFO that can transverse either a galaxy or a solar system or a fucking wormhole to a different dimension, but it can't handle a couple volts from lightning?
Mm-hmm.
It just sounds ridiculous. I have always just had a massive problem with that. And I mean, I guess maybe you could argue like, oh, well, it was their first time here. It's like, well, they don't have lightning in the rest of the universe. Pretty sure they do. Like, I know there's lightning in Jupiter all the time. Venus has a bunch. Like, I'm pretty sure they've encountered lightning before and would have put in an avionics system that has a lightning arrestor. I mean, we put lightning arresters on our power poles. I used to install them all the time. They're not going to have a lightning arrestor on their fucking spaceship. And if they're really coming here, like they came for the nukes. They're looking at the nukes.
Oh,
okay, we've got monkeys. We've got monkeys playing with fire, and we're going to make ships that are so flimsy that they can't handle a bolt of lightning.
They came for the lightning arresters.
They're
like, we can't figure this shit out.
We can't figure this shit out. We need lightning arresters. We can't finish the live wire. We've been trying to build this live wire for you for so long. Yeah, man. I don't know. I've got a lot of problems with this. A lot of problems. All right. I got another one. Here we go.
Well, sure. I mean, that's a good question. Why would you? Well, you're not.
Oh,
You're not going to.
he asked Doty the same question he's been asking everybody. Well, if you're in this position, why would you lie? What reason is there to lie?
Well, sure. I mean, that's a good question. Why
No,
would
it's
you?
not.
Well, you're not. You're not going
not
to.
a good
Number
question.
one, the government's going to investigate you unless you're under that Whistleblower Protection Act.
Or you're part of the op,
You can get in trouble.
like he was.
They want the truth out. We want disclosure out, and you're going to see. And mark my word, I'm saying this on the Jimmy Church's show. You're going to see others come out. You're going to see David's supervisor. You're going to see some other people. You're going to see a Navy admiral. He's going to come out. He's going to come forth, and he's going to relay. He's already done it to Senate staffers. He's going to come out and going to back up everything that David said and add a ton more to it, because he was an admiral in the United States. I believe he was a one. I don't know what. I'm not familiar with Navy ranks. I believe he was a 1-star, equivalent to 1-star admiral, whatever that is.
It's like a rear admiral.
Rear. Yeah, he's an admiral. I can say he's an admiral.
Taking it on
I think he has the
He's
1 bar
in
thing.
charge
I
of the
think
probing.
It's like equivalent
1
to
bar.
a brigadier general in the army, and the military, and the other branches. But anyways, I've spoke to him. We've sat down.
Oh.
We've
Part
had
of the
dinner
op.
with him, with some members of our group. He's the real thing, and when he comes out, it's going to shock a lot of people.
All right. So the first thing I thought when you're going to see David's supervisor come out, if his supervisor is going to talk, what the fuck do we need to hear from him for?
Yeah.
There's your supervisors and what we want to talk to. I don't care. I mean, if I'm if I'm working behind the bar and a waitress comes over and interviews you for the bar or something like that, you're going to go, well, wait a minute. I want to talk to the bartender. I don't want to talk to you. You don't work back there. Let me talk to the guy. It's just wild. And now you start to see the op unfolding. We're going to start with David, who's just this low-level guy. He's got a conscience. He's apparently a Ron Paul libertarian and hates the military-industrial complex, even though he's a spook. And then we're going to elevate it. We're going to give him the supervisor, and then we're going to elevate it again and give him an admiral. Now we're seeing how this is working. Let's give him a little bit. We'll give him some more, and we'll give him some more. It's wild. I mean, this is how you would write a movie. If you were doing a trilogy, you'd elevate the level of intensity for each movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
First movie.
I'm pretty sure there's a term for that. It's called edging.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. We're in a real mess here. We're in a real fucking mess. People are going to buy this hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
I really don't see. I mean, when the big alien shows, the best question they can ask is, why would they lie? When they're talking to a guy who lied for a fucking living. Why? Because it's his fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Because that's what they do. They lie. The
And
military-industrial complex doesn't tell us the truth. We don't have a say. People think they are voting for. You're not voting for anything. Did you get a vote on what's happening in Ukraine right now? Because I don't think I did. I don't remember voting on what was going to happen in Ukraine.
I'm sure shit didn't.
It's been going on for 2 years. Oh, good. Maybe I'll have a chance to vote a year and a half from now when we're all fucking dead. And what good's that going to do? It's, these are the worst people on the planet. We have been destroying the fucking planet, ruining people's lives, killing millions and millions of people around the planet for our entire lives. But they just want to tell us the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
The truth that
Just trust them.
Yeah, the truth that somebody else told them. They weren't briefed on it, but this is what they heard.
He was there, but he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But he saw it, but he didn't have access because I was on the other side of the other place, around the place where that stuff was happening.
UFO adjacent.
Oh, shit. And on that, we're going to call it a fucking night. Good night. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
18 making raps till I'm 80 and too hard for the fucking radio.